Okay, so I think we will get started for today. Again, thank you everyone for joining. Just to give you an idea of the agenda for the next 30 minutes. So some introductions. My name is Paul Stas. I'm the Director of Sales here at StrongPoint. And on the line with me today, I have Ludovic Prokop. So Ludovic is one of our customer success leads, and he will be the one walking you through the product demonstration for today. So just to get things started, what I will do is share one slide with you to give you a quick overview of kind of everything that StrongPoint does. Even though I am the Director of Sales, I don't want this to turn into a sales pitch, but I do think it's really important for everybody to understand kind of how what we are covering today fits into, our full product offering, and how, as an example, our change management or compliance tools could be an integral part of a cleanup project. So it's not ever just cleanup in isolation. If you're going to be going off and archiving and deleting unused customizations, you need to make sure that you follow a process. So I will give a brief overview of kind of everything that we do. And then what I'll do is kind of present, 3 different use cases for you. And then Ludovic will walk through the session for the day and kind of elaborate a little bit on, how some of our tools can help you check those off of your list. So if there are questions along the way, please feel free to drop them into the chat box. There should also be a Q&A icon for you as well. If you want to drop questions in there, that works too. And we will do our best to save some time towards the end to go through those. And even if we can't get to them today, we will make sure to follow up with you offline and answer those questions for you. So without further ado, for those that are new to StrongPoint especially, what do we do? So we have built a native managed bundle for NetSuite. Starting on the left-hand side, there's our flashlight product. You can think of this as a kind of single user, single environment tool for system documentation. It's extremely robust. Delivers an incredible amount of value in a very short amount of time, but it is meant for kind of one-off projects and smaller environments because it is updated manually. It's more like a snapshot of a point in time rather than being kind of an ongoing tool for continued system management. So which leads us into the second step, number 2 here, which is documentation and optimization. So you get all of the benefits of Flashlight. And so just to elaborate on that a little bit, it's a complete index of all of your customizations. So you can think of it as like fields, forms, user roles, assignments, critical settings, preferences, scripts, and every line of code inside them, and workflows and every subcomponent of them, all kind of indexed for you. And then what we do is we map out all of the dependencies as well. So great visibility to everything that's in your system, and it's all automatic. The difference between our documentation and optimization bundle and Flashlight is that documentation and optimization is automatically updating as time goes on. So every morning you walk in and you've got up-to-date system documentation. So what comes along in this bundle is a host of tools for cleanup and optimization. And I won't elaborate on them for now because that's what we're going to cover today in the back half of the webinar. But that's a very important part of that really second bundle for us. So the next step is what we call intelligent change management. Now it's not just about understanding what's in your system. It's about understanding how you can effectively change things, quickly to keep up with the pace of business. So you can think of it as in tools like change controls, change requests and approvals, impact analysis, environment comparison, and robust reporting on what changes are actually happening inside the system. So really important tools to help you kind of keep up with, like I said, the speed of your business. And the final point here on the far right side is our enterprise compliance module. Here we get into segregation of duties and access controls. What's really unique again about StrongPoint is that we're 100% native. So all of this is right inside NetSuite, and SOD as an example is right at the employee record. So really useful tools. And then we complement that with a number of pre-built master data and financial controls, which allows you to monitor transactional activity or record-based events, kind of increase security and oversight. And that typically serves really well as compensating controls for any gaps that you might have in SOD. So I hope that this makes sense. As I mentioned, what we're really going to cover today is more of a deeper dive into some of the cleanup and optimization tools. But again, you do need to kind of think of those in context, right? If you're going to be making changes, you probably want to make sure you're following a process. So with that, what we're really going to show you today is kind of 3 main buckets or 3 main use cases. And it is important to keep in mind that this should all be part of a broader cleanup strategy so that you can make sure that you get kind of buy-in and engagement and that this is an ongoing thing. And you should never really just be going off and making changes. There always needs to be a process that this is going to be a part of. So keep that in mind as Ludo is showing you things today. But the 3 bullet points that we'll really cover, first of all, our automated search cleanup tool. So we'll show you how you can leverage pre-built rules with things like automatic notifications to owners and auto archive capabilities to really clean up what often bogs down NetSuite instances, makes them not easy to use. And that's really just having this huge population of saved searches that continues to grow over time, often at an exponential rate. So the second bullet point here is just the concept of unused customizations. Everybody's got them. What StrongPoint can help you do is, what we say here is analyze, organize, classify, and then delete. But again, we give you the tools to really understand the impact that those activities could have so that you can do it in a safe way. And then finally, the third bullet point is just, what tools do we have to improve overall, ability to administer the platform and perform cleanup, and not just related to like deleting unused customizations, but how can you help kind of identify, say, default IDs or empty help fields and descriptions. So things that you may not need to, like I said, delete, but still have opportunities to improve. So that's kind of the agenda for the day. With that, I'll pass it off to Ludo, and he'll spend the next 20 minutes or so walking you through these tools. But like I said, what you'll need to do is kind of make sure that you take this in context and think of it as a greater project rather than just one-off tools. So Ludo, over to you.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Paul. So I will begin by sharing my screen. Just give me 1 second. Let me know if you can see my screen.
And we can, thank you.
Perfect. So thank you, Paul, for the transition. What we're going to tackle first here, as Paul explained, is the automated search cleanup. The way the tool works is you're going to be setting up rules, and we have some pre-built ones as well, that are going to allow you to be granular when it comes to the searches that you want to get rid of within your system. As you can see here on this page, this is a very simple form that you're going to be using to start seeing the searches that you want to get rid of in the system. As you can see here, you'll be able to name your rule, but also describe it. So if you have several admin within your system or rule owners, they'll be able to see exactly what this one will be covering. What StrongPoint is going to be very good helping you with your cleanup project here is include the owners and the users and the supervisor of inactive search, the supervisors for inactive owners and the searches that have left the company. Receive those notifications to make sure that they have the opportunity to say, I want to retain a search before it actually gets deleted from my system. Why we want to delete searches from your system is to make sure that your system works efficiently, making sure that you don't have anything clogging your system as well. And when it comes to inactive owners, you don't want to have any of remaining searches that are just staying in your system unused. So here, StrongPoint is going to automatically take care of this once you have actually finished your rule and send those notifications to those different people. On the right here as well, in the same effort, StrongPoint took the liberty to make sure that we will not be including searches that would be coming from managed bundles, script deployment dependencies, or workflow dependencies. So that way, during the cleanup, there's not going to be breaking of any automation you might have going on within your system. The first thing that I want to show you here related to the form for the cleanup would be the basic filters. So most of the time, people might have some naming conventions when it comes to their searches in the system. And StrongPoint is going to give you the opportunity to actually find them using the search by name here. So you can use the wildcard and find all the searches using their naming convention. The next one will be the script ID. And here at the bottom, you're going to have the opportunity to actually select the searches based on the date last used. So here, I want to find the searches that have not been used in the past 18 months. On the right here, default StrongPoint is going to exclude the private searches and the scheduled searches. The goal here is to make sure that, for example, when you start your first rule or get familiar with the tool, that you actually don't add your private searches right away. But as you get more and more comfortable, you'll be able to include the cleanup of private searches of your users. And the more private searches that you get rid of, the better your system is going to be. We also have a second layer of filters here at the bottom that we call admin filters. You'll be able to drill down, for example, by selecting owners, and you can do the opposite by selecting everyone and just exclude some of them. But you can also do it by departments, and most importantly, you can have one for inactive owners right here. So here in this example, I've selected all the active owners because I want to see all the searches that are still in my system for people that left the company. So this one, for example, would be a great overarching rule to automate, to make sure that your system every 7 days, you make sure that, for example, searches that haven't been used in 18 months from inactive owners are being deleted from your system. When I say delete from your system, which means that it would be gone from your NetSuite environment, but StrongPoint being a monitoring system, we're going to archive all these searches and you still have the opportunity to restore them as an admin if need be, if someone comes to you and say, I would like to get that search back. So now that we have actually identified the criteria for the searches within this form, you will see at the top right corner that you still have a filter summary that would be updated as you go based on the different filters that you'll be selecting. So once you have actually established all your criteria for your cleanup in your rule, you'll be able to do a preview as an admin for you to be able to do a first quick sweep of the searches that will be included within the cleanup that you're about to go through. So after clicking on preview, this is the screen that you're going to see. So at the top here, we will give you a little summary of how many searches are included in this one. So basically the result that we have found that would be cleaned up, the owners, the users, or the supervisors, and a summary again of the filters that you have used, and then the options here that you have selected when it comes to automating the notification to the owner and the users to let them know that searches are about to be deleted and archived on the StrongPoint side. At the bottom here, you would see the list of the searches that would be included into the round of cleanup here, and would provide you, for the admin, the information for you to be able to do a first quick scan, and if you want to retain some of the searches to exclude them from the cleanup, to do so. For you to be able to do that, you're just going to have to click on the retain search, and they would not be included in the cleanup. So here from the get-go for the admin, StrongPoint is going to provide the ability, for example, if you have some of your CEO search or president search, to remove them if you don't want them to receive notification, and be able to remove them before the process starts. On the right here, you'll be able to see that we have different columns to give you information about the searches that are about to be archived. You'll be able to have access to the date at which the searches have been created and the date last used. So for example, here you can see that we have some of them that have been last used in 2014. These are definitely searches that you want to get rid of from your system to make sure that it doesn't clog and impact your performance. You'll be able to see you'll be able as well to see the employee using the search, and you would see their name right here. Once as an admin, you have actually gone through the different searches, did your quick scan, and if you wanted to retain some of the searches, then you'll be ready to start the cleanup. So the cleanup tool is going to have two different options. You'll be able to automate it, and the system would be happening over 7 days. People will be receiving 2 different email notifications. The first one, letting them know the list of the searches about to be cleaned up, with an option next to each of them telling them, do you want to retain them? And if they disregard or don't retain anything, then they will receive a second notification, still with the list of the searches after the ones that have been retained, that they still have an opportunity to take a look at and see if you don't retain more of them. And on the second email, you would also have the date at which the searches are about to be archived. What is great about that is StrongPoint is going to empower the admin to delete searches and archive it on the StrongPoint side, making sure that everyone has received a notification letting them know the searches are going to be gone. So that way you're going to have a very little amount of people that will be coming to you saying maybe if there's a search they would like to get back, that for you to be able to restore. All right. This one, just to summarize basically what the automated search cleanup tool does, and Paul showed it as well already in the PowerPoint, is the first thing is you're going to have the ability to use a very simple form to identify the searches that you want to cover during your cleanup. Then as an admin, you're going to be able to see a preview of those searches and do a quick scan, just like you have here, to make sure what searches will be included into the cleanup. And then the other point as well would be the automated email notification that will make sure that people will be notified that some of their searches are about to be deleted and archived on the StrongPoint side. So you would have full control over the automated search cleanup process. And then outside of that, StrongPoint as well is going to give you the opportunity to see a few reports where you'll be able to see the status at which your role is going when it comes to sending the email notification, if it's the first round or the second one of notification, but also if they're about to be archived. And if any searches have been retained, you would also have access to a report that will show you the list of all these searches. And for you to be able to restore some of the searches as an admin, you would also have a different report that will show you the list of all the searches that have been archived. And next to each of them, you would have a restore button that will allow you to restore that search. So nothing is going to be lost. So now that we've actually covered the automated search cleanup, what we're going to do is take care of all the other unused customization that you might have in your system. So StrongPoint is going to provide you with a report here of that is called StrongPoint Unused Customization, pretty straightforward. That's going to show you the list of the customization that have not been used in the past 6 months. So here in this example, you can see that we have over 600 of them. So that's why StrongPoint has provided you with the opportunity to use the filters at the top for you to be able to narrow down and prioritize the searches that you want to get rid of. So here, same as the automated search cleanup, you're going to be able to use any naming conventions that you might have and use a wildcard to narrow down the results that you have here in this search. And then here you can also filter by owner, department, but most importantly, you're also going to be able to tackle it by type. Another thing that StrongPoint is going to be helping with and automate for you is going to do already a pre-scan of these unused customization using those little flags of color here on the left to let you know exactly how complex the customization might be and the dependencies before you actually take action and delete something to make sure that you don't break anything. So in this case here, all the flags would appear on the left. But if you scroll down all the way to the bottom, we will provide you with a little legend here explaining what each of the flags mean. So the red flag would means that the customization that you're looking at would have complex dependencies. Some of them would be categorized and investigation required. The green one would be safe to delete, which probably means that that customization is standing on its own and not linked to anything else. And then another one that would be yellow here that would say probably safe to delete. So StrongPoint takes care already before you start diving in and doing your investigation for deleting, letting you know if the customization that you're looking at that has been unused is complex or not. If we go back to the top here, you will also be able to see throughout the results that you have some of them that would be in bold. These ones would be an additional step that StrongPoint is going to take to letting you know that this customization actually doesn't have an active owner. So this is a step that you're able to look at during your investigation and see if it's something that is normal, that is no active owner for them. As we go through the different columns that you see here in the results section, you can see that StrongPoint is going to provide you with good information related to the unused customization that you have in front of you to help you already with the preliminary investigation that you might be doing before taking steps. So here, for example, on the right, you'll be able to see the date last use of the customization. You'll be able to see as well a link to go directly into your NetSuite record for you to be able to see exactly what it looks like within your environment. And you'll also be able to see here if there was any scripts, searches, workflows, or integration processes related to that unused customization that you have here already. And this is going to help you already for complex dependencies, identify if before you delete it, if it's going to break anything. Another thing that I want to show you as well is here, StrongPoint gives you some filters for you to be able to prioritize the cleanup of the unused customization that you have within the system, but you also going to be able to classify using a cleanup status for this customization to be able to categorize the remedial steps that you want to take when it comes to cleaning up those unused customization. All you have to do here is click in line, and StrongPoint have already created some statuses here to actually help you classify the different unused customization and next step that you would want to take. So here, for example, you can see to be cleaned up, you can be under investigation, you can see archive or ignore. And as you assign those different statuses to those unused customizations, so here I'm going to put a few under investigation. You can take, let's say, 50 minutes to 30 minutes in your day, go through them, assign them a status, and then when you're ready and you have another time during another day during the week, you will know already certain action that you have done with that scan under investigation and take the next step. This is going to lead up to the next report after that would be showing you a summary of the different statuses that you have assigned here in the unused customization report and help you tackle them based on the statuses that you have done. So for example, if you have some of them to be cleaned up, you'll be able to go in when you have some time and go one-on-one and making sure that you deactivate or delete those customization from your system. As Paul explained during the first part of this webinar, you also have an aspect of change management related to StrongPoint, and you might not want to have an admin or someone that have access to StrongPoint to just go ahead and delete customizations without having approval. To do so, here you'll be able to see that you have a column that you'll be able to actually create a change request to request approval to make sure that you would be allowed to delete the unused customization that you have in the system. And it might also help you in the future for any potential audit. And after that, you'll be able to actually time that change request to the unused customization here in those columns. So here, we've taken a look at the unused customization that you have within this report. We took a look at the filters. We took a look at the automatic classification that StrongPoint is using when it comes to different flag of colors to identify the complexity of the customization that you're looking at. Once you've actually as well done the second part, which would be assigning a cleanup status to those unused customizations, then you would have access to the open status view report that would show you by statuses. So those different categories show you exactly the ones that you have assigned. So in this case here, you can see that you have 7 searches, 7 unused customization that you set up as to be cleaned up. So you would know here when you get back that these ones you're free to go. Someone has already scanned them and says basically that we're ready to delete them from the system. So as you go through the different categories here and you click on one of them, this is what StrongPoint is going to show you. So you can see here, you still have the flags. You still have that information that would remind you that you might have some complex dependencies related to those unused customization. But you will also have access to information here, such as the date last used again. And you'll be able to see if there was a change request related as well. And then you can see the status here under investigation for these ones. You would also still have here a link to take you to the actual NetSuite record for you to be able to say, okay, I want to deactivate or delete the customization that I'm looking at right here. So this is how it will be presented to you under each of those categories based on the statuses that you've assigned to them. On top of that, you also have the opportunity to use the improvement comments section for you to say comments about the investigation that you might have done because you might not be ready to delete, I apologize, this customization, and leave notes for yourself, or the next person that will be coming to delete this customization or do further investigation. So these ones would be related to the unused customization. So just a quick reminder, you would have the filters to prioritize the unused customization that you want to go through. You'll be able to use the different flags to know already if there's complex dependencies or not. And then after that, based on the statuses, the cleanup statuses that we have assigned, you'll be able to tackle them and triage basically the unused customization that you have and take the remedial steps to get rid of them within your system. On top of the unused customization report, StrongPoint is also going to provide you more on the admin side of the system to make sure that you have tools to be able to identify NetSuite customization that might have been created with the default ID. So here's the example of the report that we have here. It's going to show you the customization here in the system that still have a default ID generated by NetSuite. So this one can give you information maybe related to customization that you have used for test purposes, and then maybe created another one with a proper ID based on your naming convention. And you'd have access to this report right here to see the ones that still have a default ID and then take the remedial steps. StrongPoint here is still going to provide you with information related to those customization, telling you if you have scripts related to them, workflows, and here an example here of one that would show you that there's searches that is linked to this customization here, and it would tell you exactly the name of these searches. Here, same again, if you have to change this information here, you would still have a link here that would take you directly to the NetSuite record for you to be able to take remedial step related to that default ID. Another report that's been quite popular, it happens a lot of times that some customization might be created in the system and being used, but people might forget sometimes to come back and actually assign a description to your customization or populate the help field. StrongPoint here in one spot is going to be able to show you which ones they are in this list right here, but also to actually populate that information in line here that would also be showed on the NetSuite side as well. So this one is going to be great to see as well all the ones that are empty. So you'll be able to check that box. You'll be able to actually look by name, or if you have a naming convention, or look by script ID, but also use the different types here if you have a lot of them to actually prioritize the ones that you want to update. So very strong report here that's going to help you update the description and help fields that you have in your system that do not have anything yet. Another thing as well that you can actually use with StrongPoint to have access to is the StrongPoint unused scripts. So here, it's going to show you the list of the scripts that have not been used. You would have same information related to the name, to the date last used. So you might see sometimes the December 31st, 1969 date, which would be a blank of the NetSuite blanket date, meaning that this script has been created but never been triggered. So these would be also great candidates to be deleted from your system. And we still keep a copy of them on the StrongPoint side, being a monitoring system. But these ones not being used, you can get rid of them within your system, and that would definitely improve the performance. Another one as well that you can actually look at here, related to these unused scripts, you can see they're attached to other searches as well, to other scripts, workflows, or data sources. So that way, that will help you with your investigation to make sure that this unused script that you have right here, that you actually want to delete it. Another great report that you can also take a look at here as well that StrongPoint will be providing you is the StrongPoint script search last run. So here you'll be able to see the scripts that have been last run. So you have very basic information that will be able to help you with your investigation, such as the name, the script ID, the owner, and here in the list, you'll be able to see the date last run. So you can go through them. Another report as well that would be related to script that you would have is the automation using unused fields. So this one is basically going to show you the automations that you have in the system that actually would be showing you the last time a field here in this column is going to show you the last time a field as referenced by a script has been populated. So here, based on that, you'll be able to identify which ones of the automation and in the script list that you have right here that you might want to get rid of within your system, and making sure that those ones just don't stagnate there and haven't populated some of the fields there, and that would be clogging your system. So just to summarize basically the different aspects of the cleanup that we covered today here, you had the automated search cleanup that's going to help a lot admins getting use of searches that are not being used in your system by using some criteria, using the previews before you actually have the automated email notification to let people know that the searches are going to be deleted, but also archived on the StrongPoint side and not going to be gone. And just a reminder as well, you'll be able to restore them as an admin using StrongPoint if need be. Then you would have everything that would not be search related, but that would be more of an unused customization. So first thing, you're going to have access to a report that's going to show you all the unused customization that have been used in the past 6 months. Then you'll be able to assign them a cleanup status for you to triage basically the action that you want to take next. StrongPoint is also going to do an automatic scan to let you know if these ones are complex dependencies or if they are safe to delete, to help you with your investigation next step that you want to take when it comes to deactivating, archiving, or deleting customization. And then after that, you're going to have another battery of report that will show you the customization that have been created with default ID, but also a report that's going to show you all the customization that do not have a description field or a help, and you'll be able to update that directly in that StrongPoint report, and it will be reflected on the StrongPoint side. And then you have all the other one related to your script activity here that's going to help you identify the scripts that are not running or that are using unused field for you able to clean them up for your system. So I hope that all these different aspects that StrongPoint is going to help you with is going to help you identify a strategy when it comes to your cleanup, give you a great interface for you to be able to actually identify those unused customization of searches within the system, and making sure that you actually have a way to organize your cleanup, that it would not be as overwhelming than just doing it from NetSuite. So Paul, that would be it on my side. I will give it back to you.
That's great. Thank you, Ludo, and thank everybody for listening. I know we went right up against the wire there and crammed a lot of information into that 30 minutes. Maybe it was a little bit aggressive to say that we were going to do a deep dive in 30 minutes, but we do want to deliver as much value as we can in as little time as possible. So I hope that we did that. As a way to say thank you, for anybody that has joined the webinar today, we will offer a free 6-month trial of our Flashlight product. So a great way to have kind of single user, single environment documentation, and just to help you get an understanding of kind of some of what we provide. Really is just a starting point, doesn't necessarily include the cleanup tools that you saw today, but even all by itself, it's still an extremely powerful tool. So I know that we're up against time, so if anybody has to drop off, that's perfectly fine. But I'm also happy to stay here and answer any questions if anybody wants to type them up into the box. So we will sit tight. And again, just a big thank you to everybody that has taken the time out of their day to join us. And we do really hope that you found this session interesting and useful. So first question here is, how do you populate the date last used field? So that's a good question, and it varies by type. So as an example, the date last used or the date last run for scripts and searches would be the last time that those things have actually been run. But the fields, on the other hand, it would be the date that it's last populated. And so that's actually a really good, I guess, illustration of kind of what Ludo was showing at the end, where you might have a script that is running, where the date last run on the script is very recent, but the fields that are being referenced on it haven't been populated in months or years. So, should that script be running? And it's a great way to identify that. And I think it's a good illustration of, why this is such a complex problem and why it's something that people can't just handle on their own. It's because there's always dependencies, there's always nuances, there's always other things going on behind the scenes that you need to understand. So that's a great question. Next one is, can you run the automated safe search cleanup on an ongoing basis? And so the answer to that question is yes, absolutely. So you can do it as a one-off. You can generate those preview lists, you can run it and archive them and have those notifications go out. And that might be something that you might want to do during a significant transition where you need to identify, inactive owners. So if an administrator has left or a super user has left, you can identify what saved searches that person owned, and then determine whether you want to archive them or if you want to reassign them to somebody else. So great use in a one-off way. What you can also do, though, is, as Ludo had, there's always the date filter there as well. And so what you can do for that is set a time period. So if a saved search hasn't been used in 13 months, then kick off that process. And I think Ludo was saying 7 days. So every 7 days, StrongPoint will automatically rerun that. And if it finds results, it will automatically send off those notifications to the owner and get them up to speed quickly. And it looks like for now, that's the only 2 questions. So I will talk slowly in case there's any final ones that come through, but otherwise we will let you go. And again, a reminder, we'll send out a follow-up email. We'd love to have you register for Flashlight if you haven't seen our product before. If you're interested in learning any more about the documentation or optimization tools, we're happy to give you that. And I thought I got another question, but it was just somebody saying thank you. Very interesting. So I appreciate that very much. I'm happy to hear it. We'll talk to you all soon. I hope you all have a great day. Thank you.